Hey Taurus, this is your May 24 soul story. Happy solar returns. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, hopefully some of these messages might resonate for you. So we're going to open up this month for you with the energy of the Ten of Cups. This is a month that definitely delivers what you need, responding to many of your big questions and bringing through some incredible insights. I think that there's a lot that is still unfolding from the eclipse and that you're having to kind of sift and sort and really come to terms with in many ways. And as we open up the month and Pluto stations retrograde, there'll be a lot of reflections around, what has had a control over your life and what you really want. And that assessment is going to continue to play out, with Pluto certainly through October 11th, but even in this month of May, there's things that are close to home and you're having a profound reevaluation. Now, what that also means, I think, is that you need to start distancing yourself. And I see this coming through in key areas perhaps that you're now realizing are holding too much of a energetic kind of pull, or they're representing something that no longer resonates for you. And that distance is also about you being able to really create a place and some sanctuary to properly exhale. So for the things that feel like they're wreaking havoc, you are now determined to find that balance. And we work our way towards the new moon in your sign on the 7th of the month. And the question here is, what do you really want? This is actually a really beautiful month for being able to tap into some of the fertile growth. It's really important, I think, around this beginning of May for you that you are creating beauty all around you, surrounding yourself with things that continue to provide that antidote to help you to feel good. That's going to give you an inner strength and a capacity to be able to hold space for some of the more, let's say, impossible circumstances or things that feel incredibly tough right now. And yes, there might not feel like there's much let up in certain things at the moment, but you do have through this month and through your solar returns this opportunity to kind of step out and to really demonstrate to yourself and other people like your new kind of set of it's almost like new values, I think, that you're bringing to the table, like how you want to live your life and what that means. And I think you've been in assessment mode with that from the beginning of the year. And now, we've arrived at this time where you're really kind of feeling into this is the change that absolutely must happen. And, including whatever the eclipse has brought around and perhaps shaken up in your world. This is a real kind of course correct moment. Yeah, we've got the energy of the Lovers coming through here, and there's this sense of coming into a really quite beautiful vibrational match to something. Now, interestingly, just after we come out of that new moon, I have this feeling that you're making an agreement or a commitment. I think that starts with the self. And by the way, if you start now, you're going to be feeling this by the end of the month, and it's already going to be part of your new life and your new chapter by the end of June. So there's a sense of no delay there. Yeah, you'll be ready and willing to make that commitment and agreement. And there is a feel-good factor around that for you, actually. I think that you can directly understand that in some way, shape or form, this is going to improve your circumstances, improve your chances, just improve the energy of a situation. So I really feel like you're having a nice dose of optimism coming in pertaining to that agreement. On the 14th, the asteroid goddess Ceres is shifting retrograde in Capricorn. Her big message is how to survive. And I think that's really important given the current climate. So again, whatever challenges you're feeling into on a personal level, but also as you look out in the collective and find the weight of that to be too great. There is this opportunity to align with some of the wisdom and the insights and downloads that are coming through as we work through that cycle with Ceres. Of course, in Capricorn, we're also particularly concerned with our public image, our reputation, how we're making our way in the world. And so there might be some changes going on as you step out in your solar returns and want to make and address something that's going to be different. How you communicate and express that in such a way that also feels like people are going to be able to receive it. And again, it's sort of allowing you to take the highest path. Back to this idea that means, I feel for you, Taurus, you are going to start to feel like you're distancing or withdrawing your energy from more and more things. So the simplification that seems to be taking place in areas of your life is something you'll continue to replicate. Now remember, as we go through Pluto retrograde, we're also dealing with, control, addictions, and I think there's things that are also coming to light that you're determined to address within yourself. And, it perhaps is a journey that you've tried to time and time again to deal with. And, maybe you've had limited success around it. There's perhaps an exhaustion, but a feeling of like, I'm still not where I want to be. So there's an acute awareness of the gap, if you like, through the month of May. But we also have this energy of perseverance that the Nine of Wands is drawing forth for you. And, Mercury shifts into your sign on the 15th. And remember, the way in which you communicate and express yourselves becomes very deliberate, very grounded. Speaking a language that you understand, it comes across to people in terms of your intentions and your vision and your certainty and determination to achieve something. And I believe that you will. It's not necessarily the easiest, pathway to do so, because I think along the way we're constantly having to meet aspects of our shadow self. And so as you move through this month of May and you're trying to materially improve circumstances, emotionally come to terms with things, and really making decisions about what's got to go. Like, I feel like I've got this feeling of, right, this has to go. But with that comes all of the almost like unseen ways that you're bound to things, so as you start to remove or withdraw, you kind of come to this place of like, oh gosh, but that means this and this and this, and there's like a whole sort of domino effect that you are not necessarily like consciously aware was sort of going on. So it can feel a little bit messy in the exit or in the, the opportunity to kind of make this transition or allow this new step to take place. And, the asteroid goddess Pallas Athena is also shifting retrograde in Scorpio on the 16th. That's helpful because it kind of helps you to, I suppose, go into the parts of this process or the parts of the changes that are happening, and be unafraid really to look at everything and to bring everything to light. And perhaps a lot will come to light during that particular cycle that's going to fundamentally affect the way that you want to strategically deal and approach something. Quite a lot of sort of political energy, I would say, coming through as a result of the cycle and the wisdom that we gain from Pallas Athena in Scorpio. So you might find at that mid part of the month you're having to be a little bit political, whether that be in the family environment, something perhaps going on at work or within friendship group or community. Nonetheless, I think sometimes, you have to play a certain part or a certain role until such times as you don't. And you might be very well aware of what it is that you need to do, and just having to kind of follow through with that process or that step-by-step plan, because ultimately you understand where it's going to take you. Now, the Four of Cups comes through. I feel like someone is discussing or talking or trying to present or share something, and either you just don't get it or you're just not feeling it. So there is this kind of, okay, yeah, I hear you, but it's not really motivating for me. It's not really moving me in my heart space. And, until such times that it does, it's going to feel particularly difficult to kind of rally and galvanize your energy in a way that's going to be supportive or, in any capacity want to frankly invest like your time, energy or attention. That could be a little bit frustrating for some people around you, I feel. Nonetheless, you know, I think you are in a way understanding about the importance of conserving your energy, because there's just a lot going on. And, you know, we've got the last few weeks before the end of the month, Jupiter is going to be shifting out of your sign, Taurus. And so there's also this kind of awareness of what you are trying to manifest and sort of where you're at in the process and at the stage of that. And, you know, it may be that through the month of April, things like flipped or changed quite suddenly or quickly, or there's something new that came to light that means that there's a sort of urgency to kind of include that or to work with that. So I think you've got quite a lot on your plate. So anyone that's trying to distract or pull you towards something that isn't really the right timing for you, I think that's going to fall on deaf ears for them, unfortunately. I want to highlight that around the 18th of the month, we've got this really beautiful, lucky astrological conversation playing out with the Sun and Jupiter. And, you know, for you particularly, I think it's a reflective time throughout the month, actually, in terms of how Jupiter's helped you to expand, you know, immeasurably in lots of different ways in your life, but really to capitalize on this, as I said, this sort of last part of the cycle, and think about, you know, what is it that I want, because there's something that's about to show up or about to be revealed for you, and it's almost like you might not even know that you want it. And so bear with me here, the assessment of kind of going back over some of the bigger goals that you have, the visions that you've got in place for this year and beyond, and how that might have changed as a result of particularly going through the last few weeks with the eclipse, but, you know, even through the course of, you know, the year, and where you find yourself now. That reassessment and reevaluation is everything, because what it's going to mean is that even if you don't necessarily know what, like, you understand, okay, that no longer is working, or I'm not sure I want that anymore, but I don't know what should be in its place, right? Even just the awareness of having that question mark is really important, because there's something in and around the 18th that is coming through here. Wisdom, a download, an activation, a presentation of an opportunity that you are meant to grasp with both hands, but you wouldn't have been able to really entertain it, frankly, had you not sort of given yourself the opportunity to just go back again and check in with yourself and see where your progress is at and how you're aligned with some of the bigger plans that you have both now and in the future. So a beautiful day, and one that should feel supportive for you in terms of looking at what's next, what's possible. Sun shifts into Gemini, of course, on the 20th. And we're going to work our way towards this beautiful full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd, actually incredibly fertile, growth-filled energy around that time, with Venus and Jupiter as well in the mix, and a revelation coming through for you that I think, here we've got the Sun, really shines a light on something, and you're like, okay, that this means everything to me. And I think maybe it's the realization of just how much it means that's a bit of a game changer for you as well. You know, you're in this kind of birthing phase, if you like, and so anything that you turn your attention to through the month of May has the capacity to have a little bit of a Midas touch on it. Even if you don't see it instantaneously, I think Jupiter has a bit of a parting gift for you in the positive, so you should look towards that with an open mind and an open heart. But certainly a lot of what you put into motion through the month of May has a real strength to it, and it's got like a purity as well that feels cleaner, which is a strange sort of turn of phrase, but that's what they're giving me, like cleaner than a lot of the energy that you've been working with in the first part of this year. So just, of course, in your solar returns, it's going to be more resonant, but there's just something about you know, the intentionality of it moving forward that's going to work really well for you. That Hermit as well, of course, also again talking about this withdrawal, this distancing yourself, this kind of removing yourself, like coming out of situations, away from energies. You know, this is a very strong feeling for you as we move through this month, and it's as a result of the wisdom that you've gained and experiences that you've had. That's what you're bringing to this. but the sun's shining brightly on you, and a positive outcome to something around about that full moon in Sagittarius that means that a conversation, perhaps that you didn't expect to happen at that exact time, does in fact happen and leads to much more than you thought might be possible. Okay, it's asking you to kind of think a little bit bigger at that time as well. So let's talk about the other big shift happening this month. Jupiter going into Gemini from the 25th, everything's speeded up. Now, in its detriment in this sign, and you know, we have this kind of feeling of almost like the truth being splintered. Yeah, we have to sort of almost hold space for like the third option. And you know, it's going to be quite an interesting cycle to work with. Of course, there'll be huge amounts of changes going on from a technological perspective, but from an information perspective, it's like trying to figure out what's real, what's you know, what's just distraction. Okay, it's not about you know, them and us, because there's this sort of feeling of it almost being like the other. Okay, and we have to sort of tap back into what our own values are, because there's going to be so much noise out there. And remember, like, Jupiter amplifies, so there's an amplification happening. So it'll, you know, you'll feel into it even from the end of May. It'll be ramped right up through the rest of the year, but this gossip, this viral energy, this multiple storylines, this trying to figure out, like, you know, is this authentic? Is it real? Is it fake? You know, so there's a lot of that sort of starting to play out. Now, before we get to that, it's helpful to kind of then check back in with yourself. And this is why this month is going to be so powerful for you, to really think about what matters to you, what you stand for, where you want to be, the type of person you want to be, like who you want to spend time. Like, it's just all of these things that are just going to be almost like what you're going to continue to kind of draw on and use as your own moral compass as you feel into how Jupiter and Gemini is going to affect you. Now, of course, it's going to hit on that second house for you, so your sense of value as well, and what's going on with your income streams, how you make money. So there's a big shift taking place in and around that conversation for you as well moving forward. But you're going to feel the disruption of both Pluto changing retrograde, of Jupiter shifting into Gemini. These are big events through the month of May, but what I'm looking at for you is actually quite a grounded, eyes wide open, I know what's going on, I'm reassessing things, and how to be fearless often under these difficult circumstances and continually sort of changing narratives is also helping you to figure out the type of person that you want to be in this future kind of vision of the world that we are all co-creating at the moment. Now, if you are new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. You can find the link in the comment and description box underneath, Taurus. I talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll go deeper into these messages. We'll also look at a personal card and a relationship card for you. So I hope you'll join me if this is resonating for you. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify these cards and see what additional messages we're going to be working with in the extended. So we have the Daughter of Coins and the 8 of Coins. Lovers is coming through with Daughter of Swords, Queen of Cups. All the decks I use are always listed below. 7 of Staffs, 2 of Coins. You can find my deck and book and ways to work with me, including all my sacred soul support, guided meditations and membership over on my website romywiser.com, so please do check it out. We've got another sun coming through here, Strength, the Emperor, and the Wheel of Fortune. Some really strong majors for you this month. Okay, let's have a look at Life Soul Visions. This is my own deck. If you're new to the channel, please do take a moment to check it out. Find it over on the website. Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadows. We've got Spirit Stag, Heavenly Timing, Golden Ribbons of Light, Waterfalls of White Light, Detours from the divine, the full moon, soulful surrender. Okay. So Taurus for May, we have Hercules, strength coming through. We'll look at these in the extended. Interesting, you had strength coming through in your majors as well there. And Cairn, portal to the mystery. All right, Taurus, I hope you'll join me for the extended. I'm going to leave it there. Have a beautiful month of May. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.